existing clients. Let's quickly understand the topics we will cover in this webinar. First, we will explore when is the right time to enter the franchising stage. Second, is franchising the ideal strategy for your brand? Third, what it means to be franchise ready. Fourth, failures in franchising. Fifth, pillars of franchising. Remember, franchising is all about creating systems that enables others to earn profit. Without further delay, let me introduce our panel for today. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, starting with Mr. Gaurav Maria, the man who needs no introduction, the force behind creating disruptive franchise strategy for thousands of brands. Entrepreneur, author, advisor, innovator, and franchising guru. I have known Gaurav sir for almost a decade now and have had the fortune of witnessing him help multiple brands from various industries achieve multifold growth. Mr. Maria is often addressed as father of franchising and is credited with growing and nurturing the franchise industry from when it was a concept known to few to now when every small and big business is looking to utilize this to grow their footprints. We also have the fortune of having Ms. Sonia Chaudhary with us today. Ms. Chaudhary is the Managing Director for Franchise India Brands Limited and has been in the franchise business for over 2 decades now. She has been instrumental in creating franchise network for countless brands and is well regarded as one of the greatest franchise experts in the country. We also have Mr. Ashok Kumar with us. Mr. Kumar is the Group Strategy for FranCorp, where he oversees the franchise development program and consulting services. With over 16 years of experience, he has a deep understanding of corporate strategy, business planning, financial modeling, franchise consulting. Kumar has worked with international organizations and India entry franchise strategy and has conducted multi-sector global market study across 198 countries and 70 territories. Additionally, he has worked on feasibility, financial modeling, commercial due diligence, asset valuation, market stimulation, forecast models, big data analysis, and regulatory benchmarks. Without further delay, I would request Sonia ma'am to take this forward.
Thank you so much, Deepak, and friends, a very good evening to all of you. I'd like to thank all of you for coming on the webinar this Wednesday evening. And so just to add on to what Deepak has said, I'd also like to set a perspective about what we're going to cover today. So this flow for today's webinar is split into 2 pieces where we'll talk about the franchising at large. We'll talk about how big the opportunity is. We'll also talk about who as an individual company should be able to expand via franchising route. And the most important part is the challenges that one faces in a business and how do we work with you to make the business model sustainable, which is the most important aspect. And finally, what we as a company and the value proposition which FranCorp, Franchise India, Fran Global, the 3 bigger entities of our group company bring to our clients. So I'll start with giving a small introduction on Franchise India. I'll talk a little bit on franchising, and then I'll give back to Ashok, who's also our lead consultant. And Ashok comes with large experience on working with clients and making their strategies for companies who want to enter India, even companies who want to go to overseas markets. And Deepak has been heading the business of FranCorp for the last more than 1.5 decades. And this was the time when we also acquired FranCorp in India. So I'll start with an introduction. There are different entities at the group level. And we're all the team that you see on the screen. We're all based out of office in Delhi. That's the head office of Franchise India. But as a company, we are present in about 97 cities in India, in 11 countries across the globe, which is through our direct teams working in these cities and countries, and also through our channel partners, our partners who are working with us in these cities and countries. So once again, friends, good evening. Welcome to the Scale webinar. And as I said, this is an initiative which has been taken by Franchise India, Fran Global, and FranCorp, which is present, like I said, across the world. And this is an initiative to help companies expand, companies grow, and eventually scale in order to create a very strong value via franchise. Right? So our intent is to pass on our learnings, which in a way de-risks the business owners, businesses like or business owners like you when you go on their franchise route. And how do we create a value proposition when you create your business model? Because unless the model has a value proposition for all the stakeholders which are involved in the day-to-day business, which includes the brand, which is you, which includes obviously the customer you are catering to, and the partner, which is a franchisee who partners with you. So unless the business model caters to all of them and has a strong value proposition for all the three stakeholders, the business is never viable. So as a company, we come with nearly 2.5 decades of validated learning. It's not just our experience in the market, but a lot of inputs, consulting, or advisory that we give to companies, advisory to investors. It comes from a lot of our learning that we have done with our presence across the country in global markets. And that is what we also bring on the table. Now, if you look at franchising in a way creates a lot of intelligence synergies because we bring in the combined strength of the company, which is the brand, you, and also the franchisee who you collaborate with to make the business model sustainable. Today, any meaningful company or company who's looking to grow cannot afford to miss franchising as a way to scale. Even startups, India is a very big startup capital. 25% of startups in our country, they use franchising to either, scale or distribute their service or product. And companies getting into franchising, and especially I would say a lot of younger companies, they also have to create a very big market, for their brand, for their product. And there's no other way which is as fast and as scalable as franchising. So while it is a great way to scale business, it also allows a company to expand their business operations without having to directly fund their own expansion. And at the same time, minimizing the risk and most importantly, I would also say eliminating the need to raise excessive capital, right? So if you look at how franchising works, and I would say this is franchise capital because any money that you raise for your business, it would either come to you in the form of equity, you dilute some equity of your business, or it could come in form of debt. You take debt and you have to, pay that debt. So franchising is the only way where a business can expand without having to dilute your equity and also without, taking any debt. So, but it is at the same time a very responsible way of raising capital. If you look at India and many other markets globally, the cost of capital alone, if I look at India as a market, is very, very high. Right. So most of the business models sometimes don't survive that cost of capital, right? Because you take that on a very high interest rate, you run the business doesn't have a runway sometimes even for a period of 6 months because that cost of capital makes it difficult for you to survive the business. Right. So before a company decides to franchise the business, it is very important to ensure that we have a well prepared and have the necessary foundation in place. And so what we need to scale, we need to have first and foremost the capacities to scale, else our business would never be viable, right? So how do we create a model which we can repeat and is consistent? So we call it consistent, repeatable business model. And this is what is labeled as franchising. So in order to do that, the construct of the business model is very, very important. So the business model has to be made and created with only one single most thing, which is sustainability. Am I going to sustain that over a period of time? Will my partner sustain? Is it right for the customers I'm catering to? And sustainable business models should also be worked upon from time to time. It's not that I created a model today, it is going to be relevant in the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. These models also have to be worked upon, time to time based on the stage of the business, market behaviors, and also the timing of your business, right? The second area which I want to highlight is also the unit economics of any business. So if the unit economics are not worked, right? So sometimes unit economics of a business is very, very, weak. It creates issues of sustainability. So when I say unit economics, it means that I need to measure every single aspect that goes in the functioning of my business, which means if I have to look at the capex, how much money I'm putting in the capital interiors, what is the per square feet that I'm putting? I need to know that, right? I need to know what is the per square feet efficiency also for my business. I also need to know, what is the product mix or the service mix which I have in my business? Which are the product or services which are high margin business? Which are my loss leaders? How much, if I'm in a business or product, for example, how much stock rotation in my category is the ideal stock rotation we should target? What should my rent to revenue ratio? Maybe I'm paying a very high rent, but a lot of locations pay a high rent, but they also have a very high per square feet efficiency. So most of the locations, even sometimes a low rental, but they don't do great. So what should be my ideal rent to revenue ratio? What locations work well? So all that, becomes a part of working at Frank Corp on how the unit economics is worked out, which is very, very important to be considered. So I'll now take you through our business, and I'll also like to add wherever we take you through a presentation. But we are a company called Franchise India. At the group level, there are different entities who specialize in different businesses. All our businesses in India are by the name of Franchise India. And the consulting arm of Franchise India is Francorp, which is an international company, which is an American company based out of America, which comes with 47 years of industry experience. And Franchise India acquired Francorp in India the last 18 years. And Deepak comes with a very rich experience. He's been leading the business for a very long period of time. He's worked with some of the most iconic, sought-after companies, some of the top, I would say, business houses in the country, a lot of startups. So Francorp comes with that experience, and not only in India, but globally also, since Francorp is present in 20 other countries. They are pioneers in consulting. They have consulted companies like McDonald's in America, right? So companies like KFC. In India also, we take pride in consulting some of the top business houses. So Francorp works with companies to make them ready to enter into franchising. So, working on your business model, working on the strategy, working on the marketing communication, working on your SOPs so that it is replicated by a franchisee. All that work is done by Francorp. And if you look at any business needs these capabilities before they enter the market. Any company outside Francorp, not only in India, but globally, there is no company outside Francorp which has all these capabilities in-house, right? And all these capabilities in-house would mean that we have a separate legal team, we have a separate design team, strategic team, a financial team, operations team, who actually puts all their work together into a document and share that with the company. Outside India, all the entities and the businesses that we run are in the name of Fran Global. So largely, I would say there are three entities: Franchise India and Francorp, the consulting arm. And internationally, outside India, we run operations in about 11 countries, which includes Nepal, it includes Bangladesh. We're there in Mongolia, we're there in Australia, we're there in Brazil, we're there in Malaysia, we're there in Singapore and UAE, Middle East. We're there operating in all these countries. UK. About 11 countries today we operate out of. All the businesses that we operate in international markets are run on the name of our business called Fran Global. And so if I talk a little bit on our company further. So Franchise India, we come with 27 years of experience. And at the group level, like you have heard, we are a fully integrated franchise solution company and also the largest franchise development and distribution company in the world. So when I say the largest franchise development, we sell more businesses than anybody else in the world. And rather, there's a trademark that we have that nobody sells more business than Franchise India. And we work with the companies of all sizes, from startups to, so I would say retail companies to enterprises to corporates. We work with all these companies. And then we also have a very big distribution by virtue of our presence across all the important markets in India and also overseas markets, which also give us a very strong entry barrier. So a lot of companies, even if they try to replicate what we are doing, it will take them decades to do what we have been able to achieve. So which also is a very strong entry barrier for anybody to kind of come and compete in terms of what we do. Now, the core driver of our business the last 27 years has been entrepreneurship, and this is what our company has been working towards, where we democratize entrepreneurship. We work with companies, make them franchise ready, bring them in the market on one side. On the other side, we work with investors or business buyers or franchisees who want to invest in businesses. Now, these investors can be individual buyers who want to invest maybe a small amount. Some of these are HNIs, some of these are ultra HNIs. Some of these are also companies who use us or family offices who use us to acquire international brands. And over the last nearly 20 odd years, we have also been instrumental in bringing more than 600 companies to the Indian market. So largely, that is what our business has been. We also run a very big media house. So we run 3 leading magazines, which is Franchising World, Retailer. And the third magazine, which is Entrepreneur, is America's leading B2B magazine. And all the companies like McDonald's, KFC, the names that we took, all these companies are ranked by Entrepreneur every year, The ranking of these companies is done by Entrepreneur. We own the rights for entire Asia Pac. So we run a very big media house. We run publications. We do about 200 exhibitions and events in India and about 20 international shows every year. And you can also go on the website of franchiseindia.com, www.franchising.com, where you can understand the plethora of opportunities that you see on the website of Franchise India. Second business of ours is Scale Platform, where Francop works with companies, help them to create a scalable model. And then through the distribution that we have in Indian overseas market, we use our distribution to reach out to potential investors. We explain them the business model, bring them on one-to-one meetings, one-to-one calls with the brand. On an average, our teams pan-India sell about 10,000 franchisees. Now, while what our marketing platform does is almost 3x of that. For example, a Delhi show, which happens every year, and many of the exhibitions that we do, alone in these shows, because a lot of companies participate, they work with the investors who come to the show, they also sell their franchisees. But the 10,000 franchisees are what, through the mandate that we take from companies, including international brands, Indian companies, we work with them to find their prospective partners. So you can imagine this is a very big number to be achieved. And our third platform is largely for people who want to invest in business. So we work with them, like I said, our investment platform for investors. And lastly is a platform where existing businesses can also exit. It's a company called BusinessX, where anybody who wants to exit their business can get a valuation done from us. And we can help sell these businesses, bring a strategic buyer or a financial buyer in the business. So friends, our proposition for scale up is hence very clear. So we understand that building a successful company is not just about growth, it is about scale. So we'll talk more about, how we work, and I'll be happy to also have any questions from you. But before we get there, I'll request if you can also share a little bit about yourself, what business you currently are, share the website of your company, industry that you are in. Maybe we can draw some references of the companies that we have worked in that category, and maybe in your region or otherwise at the national level, international level. And if you can also mention the country, because normally on this webinar, we get companies from also neighboring countries. We get clients from Bangladesh, Nepal, and also the UAE, if you are, and even Sri Lankan market. So if you want to share that, guys, we'd be happy to, read your comments. So if you can just share your website, tell us what you do. And another thing is if you're already into franchising or not. So if you're already into franchising, you can put AF. If you're not franchising, put NF. If you're already franchising, please let us know. We'd like to know, like we have told you about what we do. We'll equally be happy and excited to understand a little bit about your background. So I want to give it back to maybe Deepak. You want to add on to it, or we start directly with the presentation?
I think we can start with the presentation. I think more or less you've covered everything. So,
friends, I'll request. Okay, so friends, while we do that, I'll please request you, please share about yourself. It will make this time that we are putting with you, and you're also putting that with us, more valuable. We need to know much more than we see the names in the guest list of participants. Okay, go ahead.
Ram, if you can share the presentation.
Thank you, Sonia ma'am. Thank you, Deepak, just organizing this wonderful webinar for the audience and for the investors, for the companies who want to scale their businesses. This webinar is going to give meaningful insights and very valuable information for the clients and partners, how they can basically prepare themselves to grow their business through franchise, right? So these are some of the insights we are going to share throughout the presentation. But before getting into the presentation, some of the aspects of the industry that I would like to discuss and explain. So you look at any consulting firm, even it's you talk about Big Four or you talk about like large management consulting firms. So these companies, they basically helps you, they work with you just to develop your strategies, develop your business growth plan, business plans. But the challenge for the industry and for any player is the execution of that strategy. So if you look at Indian history, I think 99% failure of the businesses and the scale up was happening in the execution of the strategies. So if you look at the Indian history, Delhi Metro Rail was the first ever successful project. It was completed on time, it was executed on time, it was executed in the budget. Okay, so how basically the Francop and Franchise India helps you, because Franchise India and Francop, they don't only help you to design your strategy. They work with you to design your strategy plus create your execution plan so you can achieve your targets, you can achieve your scale up. And so that is the biggest differentiation in terms of consulting services offering from Franchise India and Franco. Right. Now, one more thing here is very, very important. If you look at any business or any project or any strategy, it requires a different set of expertise to design proper strategies and growth plans. It requires your strategic advisory. It requires a financial modeling, financial planning. It requires legal due diligence. It requires commercial due diligence. It requires marketing expertise, and it also requires your operating efficiencies. So if you look at the management consulting firms, you will find a lot of experts who are experts in one or other category who are experts, right? Where basically Frank Bob, he brings integrated expertise at one place. So we fulfill your requirement, designing your strategies, developing the financial models, conducting commercial due diligence, developing your legal due diligence, creating the right legal formats, driving your PR strategies and marketing communication strategies, and creating your SOPs for your business. So these are the integrated expertise that is the biggest strength of FrankOp to offer to our clients. Now we'll go through the presentation. We'll talk about some different aspects of the business. Now, if you are in any business, you are in a product business, or you are in a service industry, or you are in manufacturing, you are in distribution, franchise is used by each and every single business category. If you talk about like dealer distribution, you can take an example of Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola is the biggest dealer distribution company in the world, and this is the completely franchise business industry. You talk about F&B, you can talk about Subway. It's an F&B business, completely franchise business, and Subway doesn't own any of the outlets. You talk about the hospital chains, these are the service industries, have been franchised, right? You talk about education businesses, they are into service industry, these are franchise. So franchise is used worldwide and across the categories. Now, how you can scale your business and what is the right time for you to consider franchisee as a growth strategy for your business, right? So these are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself, and if you have the readiness for these questions, that means basically yes, your business has the potential to grow or scale up through franchising, right? So what is the right time? So ask yourself. So I would say like there is no right time to grow your business, right? It's just matter of the decision that you take. Right? Now, what are the things that you need to consider before you take a call or take an action to start grow your business through franchising? First, you need to look at the market demand. So if your product or service, it has a higher demand and you are not able to service it, certainly you should evaluate franchise tool to scale your business. My next question is, look at the competition. You might have a better product. You may have been delivering these services for so many years, or might be for decades, or might be for generations. But if your competition is taken advantage, taking over, that means definitely you can utilize franchisee route to scale your business. My third element, if you are lacking for capital to grow your business, I think franchisee is the best way to raise capital, and it's a risk-free capital that you raise to grow your business. My next element is your operational efficiencies in the business. So if your business requires higher efficiencies, better efficiencies, I think there is no better way than franchisee to grow your business. Because here you are inviting franchisee partners to invest in your business and then basically to operate the business. So franchisee, it brings basically better efficiency, operational efficiencies in the businesses. You can take an example of any like oil marketing companies. So they're all of their petroleum stations or CNG stations, or now is the boom on like EV charging stations. All of them, they are utilizing franchisee as a tool to scale their businesses. These companies, oil marketing companies, they don't have any capital issues. They can deploy any capital, but to deliver and to perform better efficiencies, they franchise their businesses. Similarly to, if you look at your automotive companies, why they franchise their businesses? Because they require better efficiencies. My next point is basically, if you have better product or better service, innovative ideas, disruptive ideas, so you should not wait for the ideal time. I think immediately you should explore franchisee as a route to scale your business before you lose any time. And my next question is basically, if your product or service require a larger scale of economy, that means you should definitely explore franchising as a tool to scale your business, because franchising can bring a faster scale to your business. You can appoint basically national master franchisee partners, state master franchisee partners. Even for some of the locations, you can give some area specific franchisees to these partners to set up multi-unit opportunities for you. You can appoint multi-unit partners within the same city to scale your business. Right? So franchising, it brings a better economy of scale. Okay, so now my next slide is on, if you are ready to franchise your business, that means what are the things you need to consider, what are the checkpoints for you to check your readiness that you are prepared to franchise your businesses. So this is a checklist of 18 points divided into 6 segments. So that basically gives you the complete readiness to scale your business through franchising. So first one is your brand preference and engagement. In brand preference engagement, basically you need to look at the credibility. So credibility, you might be running the business for generations, and in the same city, you might be the most preferred or most lovable business owner. You may have a basically high customer ratings in your city. Right? You have established a credibility, because this credibility doesn't come from thin air, because the hard work, the energy, resources, and the time that you have invested over the years in the business, that has basically created that credibility for you. But you can utilize that credibility, you can encash that credibility once you scale your business through franchising. Positive press release and social media marketing is, of course, nowadays, if you look at digital marketing, so I think digital marketing has turned up to be a very powerful tool to market your product and services. Look at the screen time of individuals in India. People spend almost 4 to 5 hours just only watching the screens. Right? So the PR strategy that you do. Next element is your awards and recognitions that you have received over the years for your business or for the products. So these are the very powerful, credibilities and capabilities that you have developed or achieved over time, and you can basically utilize these to encash or attract investment. My next element is your management, leadership, and team. So founder story has to be very powerful once you put this into a proposal or into a strategy document. A founder story, you might have like a very attractive founder story, but how to communicate it to the investor? Key management team and experience. So your team, your strengths, your capabilities, your experience, your exposure, that matters for the investors. So it gives them the confidence that what kind of knowledge and expertise they are going to gain once they associate or partner with you. And your organizational design in terms of delivering your products and services and providing support to the franchisee partners to run that business. My next element, if you look at, so you have your credibility established, you have a very strong management team, then we need to look at your business model. Right? So business model, business processes, and business systems. Right? So we need to develop a prototype that is based on your past performances. Yes, of course, it will help you because you have been in the business, you have seen ups and downs and negatives and positives of the business. So you know the basically which are the areas or which are the risk areas. So how to mitigate those risk elements and bring a better or would say like sustainable business model for the franchisee partners. My next element is your SOPs and vendors, because you have been running this business in and out. So basically, you know the business very well. But once you hand over your business to the franchisee partners to operate, that means it brings a risk to us. So there, your standardization of the SOPs and your manuals, guidelines is very, very critical. So where basically our teams, they work with you to standardize your SOPs. And these SOPs are standardized in such a way so you can deliver the same experience at any store or at any location that you start your franchise. So you are going to deliver the same consistent experience to the end consumer. Right. Next point is your strong vendor relationship. So because the supply chain of your product and services are the key for the business, that is a backbone, right? So your entire supply chain and vendor relationship has to be in place, and it has to be very strong. So you can deliver the inventory or the stock that required at any franchisee store. You can deliver that at a franchisee store any point in time as per the requirement. Right. My next element is your competition and market trends. If you look at the industry and market trend, of course, there are multiple factors that you need to look at. So for any business or any product, you need to look at the 6 critical parameters of the industry. One is your demand. So to assess the demand for like next 5 years, you should know the history of at least for 10 years. My second point is your supply. So if your product or service has a higher demand and you have a supply shortage, of course, your business has a potential to scale up. And supply, in supply, we need to also review and address the competition, right? So the product demand may be higher or it may be growing at a rapid scale, but we need to also evaluate how many players or similar players who are delivering the same services or same products. We need to assess that competition. Next element is your price. So we have like demand, look at the supply, you need to look at competition, you need to look at price. So price points for your products and the services that you deliver is going to play a significant role to capture a significant market that you are planning to achieve. My next element is your technology. So technology in the business can bring very disruptive market strategies. And so you have to be technologically sound and equipped with. And my sixth parameter is your legal frameworks. That is called your regulatory. So demand, supply, competition, price, and technology, regulatory. So these are the 6 key aspects of any business to evaluate strategy, feasibility for any business or any product. So once you have the solid finding and you have the insight, you understand like, yes, we have the enough potential to grow our business. Then basically my next element comes in as a financial performance and margins. So we need to evaluate based on our past performances, what kind of return on investment we can offer to our franchisee partner. And of course, because it is you are raising capital through franchisee route, but it is a very responsible way to raise this capital because you are promising somebody, yes, you can invest with us and you can make money from my business, right? So it is equally responsible that you need to help your franchisees and make sure your franchisees are successful, especially in the initial ignition period, right? Because your initial capex is deployed by franchisee and your operating cost for your business or for your products is basically also paid by franchisee partner, right? So he has the maximum cost to run your business. So you should have a higher margins, better margins to share with the franchisee and make them profitable. So we have to bring optimized investment models for the franchisee partners, affordable and profitable. Right? My next element is the capitalization. Right? So capitalization means basically, yes, you also need capital investment to develop your capabilities, right? So even if you have like a potential to invest in couple of stores as a company-owned, company-operated outlets, or you may have some plans, so we would recommend it's better invest that money to develop your capabilities and use franchisee route to scale your business. So within the same amount, same capital that you are planning to scale your business, you can achieve at least 10x or 20x, 50x growth in your business. Now we are coming to the 6th element as your product and services. Yes, of course, if you have innovative ideas, innovations and R&D, that's going to keep you ahead of the competition. So you should have a consistent R&D product life cycle change. You should offer different as per the customer requirement, customer demand. You should have a better offerings, innovative offerings. Keep your customers updated, upgraded as you go along in the business. Right? You look at some of the businesses, or not some, many businesses. If you look at the history, they failed. They are no longer in the business. Right? Like I can take an example of your T-series that used to manufacture these tape reels. They are no longer in the business. It was took over by floppies, CDs, DVDs, all gone. It's all digital. So innovation is very, very important in the business. And my last element is basically what is the differentiation that you are bringing for your franchisee, not for the only for the franchisees, for the end consumer. Because ultimately you are going to serve your end consumer and he is your final investor. So how you can retain your customers, what superior values or experience in price that you offer to your franchising partners and end consumers. So you retain your customers for a longer period of the business. Ultimately, your end consumer is going to drive your business. Now, we will talk about basically the 4 pillars of franchising. So yes, of course, these are divided into 4 blocks. So first block is my past, where we talk about the predictability, accountability, standardization, and scalability. Predictability as financial performance. If you have the micro management in the business, if you can measure micro performances, even in financial performance, in operational performance, definitely it brings the accountability as well. So micromanagement of the business and financial performance is very, very important for your business. And how you can bring that micro measurement in your business if you know the unit economics of your business. So as early in the beginning of the presentation, Sonia already said, okay, if you know the per square feet efficiency, per person efficiency, and you know, and based on areas, expertise, so those efficiencies, your like spend on marketing, spend on operating expenses, spend on infrastructure. So those efficiencies, if you understand, definitely you can create a very accurate financial projections for your franchising partners. Accountability. So once we talk about the accountability, so in your business, you should have a accountability for your all stakeholders, accountability for your like founders, management team, employees, franchisee partners, including your end consumer. So that we need to define the accountability for all the stakeholders. Standardization, so your every step, every process of your business is starting like the day in the morning, starting opening the store till the closing of the store. So each and every small element has to be standardized. Right? So you can deliver basically the same experience to your end consumer. Scalability again is the main factor. So yes, of course, we need to evaluate the total addressable market and what basically the percentage or market share you want to capture in short term, long term, and planning. So you should have a clear milestone to achieve that targets. My next pillar is triple C. This is called basically control, compliance, and consumer connect. Control, of course, because now you are handing over your business to somebody else to run that business. So how you can bring basically the better control on the business? So where you don't compromise with the quality or customer experience or from your services or your brand values. Right? So a lot of that control can be brought through legal obligations. The technology can play a significant role to keep that superior control on the business. Right? So where basically our legal teams, they work with the clients to create a 360-degree protection for your brand. Okay. Compliances. So compliances is again is a very, very challenging aspect, because if you are planning to scale your business in other countries or other geographies like other states, so each state, each country has its own regulatory other legal compliances. So how you can bring those legal compliances? There basically the role of the franchisee partners comes in. So there they can basically bring these local compliances, local legal requirements, so they can fulfill these obligations locally. Where basically as a brand, you may not have the enough bandwidth to fulfill those compliances. My next point is basically your consumer connect. So last mile consumer experience has to be consistent for your, even it's a company store or it's a franchisee store. If you can achieve that, basically, then basically you can create a superior model. You look at example for similar businesses, you can talk about Subway, you can talk about Lenskart or any other business. My next element, next pillar is your air, where we talk about the attractiveness, investor readiness, and risk hedging. Attractiveness, there are like thousands of opportunities are available in the market. There are other investment opportunities or channels are also available in the market. You can invest in real estate, you can invest in stock market, you can mutual funds, you can invest in um, other businesses, or you can acquire franchisees. Right? There's so many companies like are there who are offering a franchise. Right? So how you can bring that opportunity, how you can offer a better investment attractiveness for the franchisee, better returns, better value. That is very, very important. So you attack capital first. Investor readiness. So are you prepared for your investor readiness for a short-term, medium-term, and long-term performances? And lastly is your risk hedging, because your investment is done by franchisee and your risk of the business is also shared by franchisee. He is also taking the risk. So you, as a franchisor, your responsibility is how you can mitigate those risks, how you can basically can bring control to these challenges, areas, and risks. So that's equally important for any business. If you can bring that support to the franchisee, I think it's going to be a very successful and very lucrative business model for offering for the franchisees. Right? My next pillar is your ERR. That's called your encourage, recognize, and reward. So of course you should encourage fair practices and reporting in the system. So in the organization or outside the organization, to your franchisee partners, encourage better performances that demonstrate, and it also creates good impact for others to follow. So look at any business. It's like a, I would say, monkey see, monkey do. So the practice, the that you demonstrate, it will be followed by rest of others. Recognitions, of course, you should have a recognitions for your franchisee partners, franchisee teams, franchisee employees. You should have the monthly targets and achievement. And then you should reward your best performers for the year. So that is the that's the kind of motivation you need to create for all stakeholders, right? So now we'll summarize our services again in this format. Why you should uh, choose Franco as your consulting partner, or you can say business group partner. Yes, Frankov works with you to design your strategy, create your financial modeling, do your SOP manuals, drafting legal documents, your marketing communication strategies, brand PR strategies, training of your teams. Those all the service elements will be provided by FriendCorp. Right. So, but now the next aspect of your business is your franchisee recruitment, right? So one side, you have created all the tools, all the documentation, all the platform to scale your business, but you may not have enough bandwidth to recruit your franchisees because it requires again another set of expertise that's starting from your marketing, lead generation, lead management, franchisee selection. And franchisee selection is equally important as you design your strategy. And how to basically appoint the right partner for your business. So where basically Franchise India team work with you to do your marketing, lead generation, lead management, and franchisee selection. And franchisee selection based on a very sophisticated strategy that we do. Okay. So because once you start franchising, if you create like your first five franchisees successful, you will be loaded with thousands of leads. How you are going to manage these leads? So where Franchise India and FriendCorp, they work with you to design strategy and evaluation criteria for these franchisee selections. And the final selection of any franchisee partners, we evaluate based on 4 key parameters. We look at your operational fit, the operating capabilities of the franchisee partners, strategic fit, where we evaluate the strategic strength of the franchisee partner. If he comes from the same industry, same background, he understands the business, he understands the market dynamics or not. So we evaluate based on these parameters, and we have a very sophisticated rating and ranking system to do the due diligence for each partner. My next element is to evaluate franchisee partner based on the financial parameters. So we look at the financial fit, and last parameter is the marketing fit. If my franchisee partner is capable enough to create a local demand, so we evaluate based on these 4 fits our franchisee partners, and we appoint the right partner for you. So now we are coming towards the conclusion. So what we have done, because we have a vast range of services at FriendCorp that we deliver in Franchise India. So we have converted those offerings into the 4 standard products. Depending on the scope, your plan to roll out, scale up, and basically the tenure of your service. So we have Friend Start program for 1 year, where we have a limited scope. Then we have Friend Grow, it's again 1 year program for some targeted rollout, and we have basically pre-approved scope in Friend Grow. Friend Excel is my 2-year program, where we promise in guaranteed leads we provide. We conduct fortnightly review. We appoint our direct teams and indirect teams on your projects. We also allocate regional teams to work with you on your business. And we have Friend Max, that's a 3-year program, and we guarantee supply for 7,500 leads, and we conduct weekly reviews, where we also capture your brand story, and we appoint a dedicated resource plus 6 regional resource, and all teams work with you. And we also have a full day review with our chairman, Mr. Maria, to launch your business. Right. So these are the primary 4 products that we deliver. So for more details and commercials, you can reach out to our CEO, Deepak Yadav, or Ram, so he can take it further. Right. Again, it's a quick brief about the company. So I think Sonia Chaudhary already talked about Franchise India, 27-year-old organization. They have advised more than 20,000 brands in India, and 90% of the Indian market, especially franchise market, is developed by Franchise India. We have a direct interface with the investors where we have more than 1 million investors registered with us, and these are the paid registered investors, and they are looking for some or the other opportunity to invest in. I will also give you some demand supply dynamics of franchise industry. Yeah. Right. If you look at my international presence, we have presence in 10 countries, and we have a direct team of 1,500 professionals who are working with us. Right. So before closing the presentation, so that's it from my side. And now I'll give you some market dynamics of Indian market. So India market, if you look at currently, it is around $200 billion market. We are talking about only the franchise industry size. And this is basically only 4% of the total Indian GDP, right? If you compare US is sitting at like $2.5 trillion franchise industry market size. So that is more than 10x of Indian size, right? India sets a target of achieving 10 trillion economy by 2035. So that means this industry has to grow and contribute at least 10% of the GDP. So that translates to 1 trillion. So the franchise industry contribution is India is going to be $1 trillion, where current market size is around $250 billion or $200 billion. That means there's a 700 to 800 billion dollars is the capital that has to be raised through franchise in India, right? So if you have the right business, you have the right service, and if you want to attack this capital through franchising, I think FranCorp and Franchise India is the right platform to work with, and we can help you to grow your business. Now I will request Deepak to take questions from the Q&A box.
Thank you, Ashok ji. Friends, I hope Ashok ji was able to give you a clear understanding on what's required to build a sustainable franchise model. Remember, if you're looking to franchise, what works for franchise companies is the franchise systems. Trust me, franchise inquiries are never a problem. If you have a great product or service and you've been surviving in the market for say 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, then definitely you have tested your product. The acceptability of your product is there, and which also means that people are interested in your product and services, and later on they might be also interested in your franchise services. But if you don't have the right formula to encash or leverage on this what you have created, there is always a chance that your business model might go down. And trust me, my experience of 15 or 17 years state this: you pick up any good company whom you feel is the best company who's franchising, there is one thing common between all those companies is the franchise systems. And they're very, very rigid about their franchise systems. They do not compromise on their franchise system, whether it's about selecting the right franchise partner, whether it's about royalty collection, whether it's about certain policies which they have built for their franchises. They stick to that. And it's very, very important. Yes, with time, things change, because today maybe you are at a growing stage, so you might not have that capabilities. So to build those capabilities, you also need funds. So slowly you have to raise capital from franchising, use that capital to build your capabilities. And it is also very, very important for you to know that what kind of capabilities you know. Today, I have seen companies, like I was talking to a young lady today and from Chennai, and she had a great business of sarees, which she did online. And she's been doing some phenomenal sales from last 1.5 years. And she's interested in putting up, her offline stores. And there are a lot of inquiries which she's been generating at a personal level, that people are saying that, bring your product to our cities and, it will do very well. But with her, the only thing is that she was telling me that I am specialist in my product. I know how to do this and what the consumer needs. But when it comes to franchising, it's very, very difficult. While the business is knocking on her door, what I liked about her is that she wanted to do that professionally, because she told me one thing, that when she started her online journey, she was very professional in that. She knew what to do. So similarly, when you are entering into franchising, you need to understand what is going to be your growth journey. To achieve that growth journey, what kind of capabilities you need, because till the time you don't have these answers, you will not be able to manage your capital. If you want to make a meaningful business out of it. If you just want to raise capital and exit out, that's a different story. But if you really want to make a meaningful business out of it, then you need to have planning. And that's what Frankfurt does. We give you a detailed planning. We ensure, like our financial model is dependent on 4 pillars. One is that how do we make the whole opportunity financially sellable? You know, till the time your financials are not sellable, it will not sell in the market. Second is how do we make it profitable? Everyone, whoever makes the financials, try to give some forecast and makes it profitable. But third is how do I make this sustainable? So these 3 things are extremely important. So we work with case by case. Every industry, every business is at a different stage. So we work with you, and we are more than happy to come on one-on-one call. Ram is going to, after this call, can connect with you. We can come on a no obligation call of 1 hour call with you. We'll understand your business. We'll give you some case studies. We'll tell you what companies we've done in your space, how we've helped them grow, what valuation they have reached using franchising. So thank you, friends. We look forward. Hope the session was enlightening for you, and we would keep on adding these sessions. Thank you so much, and thank you, Ram, for conducting this webinar. Friends, Ram is responsible to conduct this webinar, and he will individually connect with you guys. If you want to have one-on-one call with us, with Sonia ma'am, with Gaurav sir. Unfortunately, today Mr. Maria could not join, but maybe next time. And if you want to have a call with him, we are more than happy to address them. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Deepak.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Deepak, before we close it, the last message I wanted to share with the investor and the audience who is listening us live. Look at the Indian market. If you look at the online market, the contribution is only 14%. Right? And the primarily, if you look at this market size, this 14% of the online business primarily coming from your metro cities and tier 1 cities. So your 85%, 86% of your business is offline. And the future is not going to take over. So offline is going to play a major role for the next 2 decades. And customer experience and customer preference is towards experience, you know, and customer is willing to pay premium price. So offline is the future for the next 2 decades. And some of our investors are asking the question. I think we can connect with them on one-to-one basis, and we can give them much detailed understanding and some case studies. Okay, so thank you, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Ashokji. Thank you, Ram. We look forward to connect with you all. Thank you. You've taken a little bit of extra time, but I hope it was worth. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.